Oh, where the hell is it?
You give him a big kiss on the mouth.
This is PTR Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. It's another day in paradise, as Phil Collins once said. You know, it is what it is, and that's all that it is, and it won't probably ever be more. But you know, whatever. There we go. Thank you. Okay, and just putting Mike's little toy on for him, so that he can check out all of your great messages, and he can put them up there, and everybody can have their 15 minutes of fame, or 15 seconds, whichever I've got it set to.
Yes.
So no matter whether you're tuning into us on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube, you can now chime in with the show and tell us what you're thinking, because we don't know what the hell is going on with us. But we'd love to hear what's going on with you. First day of my vacation. So, you know, I took a vacation from work. You'd think that would have started during the weekend. You'd have thought that, but you'd have been wrong. So this is actually the first day of my vacation. So
Okay.
Well,
you get holiday pay for that.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No. I had to work this weekend, get some stuff done, because you know, whenever you go on vacation, you got to work extra before and after, so that you can go on vacation. And then when you're on vacation, well, realistically, you still got to check your phone and you got to check email, because if you don't, then when you come back, it's twice as bad. You know,
I am not at that level of management. And every time they've asked me to go back to that level of management, I've told them, nope, not interested.
Yeah. Well, I took my vacation because the vendor that I'm working with took their vacation, and so it just happened to work.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So, anyway, we want to thank you all for tuning in. If this is the first time you've tuned into the show, we talk about everything. Everything, anything, you name it, we talk about it. We do have some topics on the white sheet, but likelihood is we won't get to very many of them, because we're going to go off on a tangent, and that's what the night's going to be. In fact, this week's white sheet is actually pretty sparse.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we could pretty easily get through the white sheet this time.
But you never know what else.
Challenge accepted.
You know.
In fact, let me check. Okay, you've added a couple things.
I added some things so that there was a white sheet, because originally there was no white sheet.
I was going to say, as the original white sheet was going, we're going to have Mike say something, and then we would have completed the white sheet.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But. No, we hope everybody still has 10 fingers and toes, if that's what you started with on on July 3rd. You know, this is technically the 5th, so you've only got another, 14 days to light off that whole trunk full of fireworks you smuggled across the state line. We know you've been lighting them off for the last week, so we're giving you 2 more weeks to finish it out. That's at least that's the way it is around here, Mike. I don't know about New Jersey, but that's the way it is here.
New Jersey, listen, they started a week and a half ago, and so they're legal. Certain ones are legal here in Jersey. Anything aerial is not legal in Jersey for a general public.
Mm-hmm.
So while I don't like the firecrackers and the ground sparklers and all of that stuff, I can't complain about it because they are legal. Now, our one neighbor, after the 1 year that he shot off aerials and they were landing in my backyard after, all the debris was back there and I had to do a mine sweep to make sure none of the dogs got anything, we had a discussion, and now he lets me know what time, he lets me know where he bought them. He is very conscious of it, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The big problem with COVID here is we had a lot of people from New York move to New Jersey. And New Yorkers, for the most part, figure, damn it, I've got a yard now, so screw you, I'm doing what I want.
Mm-hmm. They never had a yard before, so,
So, that didn't work.
No, that didn't. No, you're right. That didn't work.
So, okay.
It's weird because I haven't changed a darn thing there, but okay.
So while Shaggy tries to figure this part out, I will say that last night I expected it to be bad, but Kim and I were on the couch watching the Macy's fireworks, as most people do.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Macy's fireworks ended, it was right around 10 o'clock, a little after 10. Now, the noise ordinance in town, which is in effect all year here, is 10 o'clock. So I looked at Kim and I said, at the very least, I hope these bastards out there we go. I hope these bastards realize that when the Macy's fireworks are done, you should be done too.
Yeah.
And for the most part, they were. So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. So you saw that thing from my mom saying that she asked them to stop. Well, she had to ask them to stop. It was almost 1 a.m. But they decided that it was time to go out and do another round of fireworks.
Ah, sweet.
Well, here in Illinois, the only things that are legal are those little paper packet things that you throw at the ground and they snap.
Yeah.
And
really?
Sparklers.
Okay.
And the snakes. You light a little tablet and it turns into a black snake. That's pretty much the extent of it. Firecrackers are not legal.
Yeah, I was actually going to post, or was going to talk about. So, Illinois Legal Aid Online actually posted, they had a question: what kind of fireworks are legal in Illinois? And there are no kinds of fireworks that are illegal in Illinois. The only fireworks that are legal aren't fireworks, and even those can be outlawed locally. Fireworks are regulated on 3 different levels: federal, state, and local. What's legal depends on where you are, obviously. In Illinois, at least, the Pyrotechnic Use Act bans the sale, possession, and use of all consumer fireworks. That's the stuff that you typically can legally buy in other states, like firecrackers, bottle rockets, and Roman candles. Violating the PUA can result in up to 1 year in prison and a $2,500 fine. So here's some things that are not consumer fireworks and therefore are legal: sparklers, small cap guns, snakes or glowworm pellets, smoke devices, trick noisemakers, party poppers, booby traps, snappers, trick matches, cigarette loads, and auto burglar alarms. Careful with the smoke devices, though, because federal law prohibits cherry bombs.
Okay.
In fact, in Champaign-Urbana, where the U of I is based out of, any items which must be ignited with a match are prohibited in the city limits.
And, honestly, after the pandemic, I expected this year to be bad.
Oh, yeah.
I truly did.
It sounded like Beirut here last night. I mean, there was so much,
But
and this was
even though it's illegal, the police are actually they're too busy at their homes firing off their own fireworks to care about trying to capture anybody else doing fireworks.
Not only that, but the sound of fireworks is very easily confused with the sound of gunfire, so it is the perfect time to go out and murder people. So evidently there was a huge rash of gunfire last night as well, and a record number of murders. I'm not kidding about that. Evidently there was a huge amount of crime last night.
So the one thing, and now I completely. So I had a couple of friends last night actually on Facebook that were pleading for it to stop because either they or their significant other were combat veterans.
Oh yeah.
And even when I walked out, because somebody the block behind us was shooting off, the loud boomers, I walked out and I was even a little taken back.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
And I don't have PTSD. I wasn't in a war zone. So I fully empathize with...
Yeah.
I mean...
It's not cool. It's just not
but
cool.
America!
Yeah.
America!
Well, here's a story of someone who unintentionally... unintentional timing, let's put it that way. An RV accidentally caught on fire, and it happened to be full of fireworks in East LA. So just listen to this. Oh, wait, hold on. You can't listen to it yet because I forgot to turn something on because I'm an idiot. You're
not an idiot.
So just hold on 1 second, and then you can listen to this awesome, spectacular fireworks demonstration because it really does sound great.
East LA.
I think this thing is just...
Oh, snap. It's got fireworks in there. Oh, snap. That's why it's on fire. RV has fireworks. Woo!
I don't know. Did that come through at all?
Yeah.
That sound.
Okay. Yeah, I was not putting the video up for another reason. We can talk about that tonight too.
Oh boy.
Well,
I advise we talk about that after you go to the bar.
Yeah, after we go to the bar. So, but yeah, no, it was. The problem with Instagram videos is you don't know how long they are, and there's no like pausing and resuming or anything like that. That's
yes, this is true.
I hate those, but yeah. No, there was lots of fireworks sounds there. So
on a completely sad side note of the fireworks, it came out in the news that let me get his name here. I'm going to mispronounce his name. Matis Kivelniks, 24 years old, goaltender for the Columbus Blue Jackets, actually died from a fireworks mortar causing severe chest trauma.
Yeah.
24 years old. This kid was an NHL goalie, and he was not the one shooting them off. The way it was explained was he was in a hot tub, and somebody was shooting it off in the complex. And when the mortar tipped over and started aiming towards them, they all got up to get out the way, and he got hit with fireworks. So
this kid has such the baby face too. I mean, he looks every bit. He looks younger than 24, but yeah. I mean, that's the sad part. I mean, we had an explode not too terribly long ago, maybe 10 years ago. We have what's called Rock the Dock here, right? So they have a barge out in the middle of the lake, and that's where they set the fireworks off of. It had a misfire and had a huge explosion, which ended up costing, it was a huge disaster. ended up costing the guy who organized it his business. As I think also he was pretty badly burned in it, and I mean, it could have been much worse, but I mean, you can't really screw around with those things. I mean, they are, they can be very dangerous. So, and I say this remembering my early years, when I was 14, 15, duct taping bottle rockets to cheap plastic toys and running them down the street, So, I remember those days of being young and stupid, and I look back and think, boy, that was really dumb. So, luckily, the worst thing we ever did was light off some big rocket, and it decided to run into the satellite dish on top of Kmart and blow up. So, but it didn't cause any damage.
Like, we never got any fireworks when I was a kid, but my cousin would come over sometimes, or I would go over there, and the following day we would go walking around the block looking for the ones that kind of got away, the undetonated ones, or what have you, and we would bring them home and gamble, tempting fate with those.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes a firecracker would light, and sometimes it wouldn't. And sometimes it would wait until the one you lit after it to go off.
It's that surprise explosion that really keeps you awake and feeling alive, Yeah, one of my most it wasn't exhilarating because it was very safe. But one year I was working at scout camp, and they asked me to go pick up, because we did have a fireworks display at camp that was, it was for like an anniversary of the camp. And so we did this one-off. But it was just and had someone else actually set them up and do everything. But I transported all the fireworks. I went to the guy's house who made them, and he basically packed the back of my pickup truck. Yes. Well, yes, because these all had to be created.
Let me go ahead and get these for you. Hold on.
Yes. I don't know how much gunpowder was in it, but it was, or sparkler dust, whatever in the hell you want to call it. But what was great was, by law, he had to give me the danger explosive signs.
Oh, God.
And he said, I have to give these to you by law. But by law, you don't have to put them on your vehicle while you're transporting these. I just have to give them to you. So, of course, at that point, I was moved out of my parents' house, and guess what went up on the bathroom door? So, I wish I still had one of those signs. Because, well, I'm 42, and I still would have put it on the bathroom door. All right? But,
yeah. Well, then there'd be this great Darwin Awards thing about this guy who, slipped and during a fire, like got trapped in the bathroom, and the firefighters couldn't get in there because there was an explosive sign there.
Yeah,
so they had to call out for an expert.
But yeah. Oh. But, before we get too far down the line, I think it probably is important, as we have started to do since the pandemic, I think it's important that we make a drink and, we relax a little bit with that. So I think it's probably time to go to the bar. All right, and we're here, and you guys should be able to hear me. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Whew. Oh boy, thank goodness. All right. See, I finally got it working after all these weeks. What the heck? So, what we are going to make is on my phone, but it's like, it's a rum drink, and it's something Lou. I don't quite remember what it is, but anyway, it's one of those fruity cocktaily ones. So if you like pineapple, I think you're really going to like this. So it's very simple. There's 3 ingredients total, if you don't include ice, which I don't. So you get yourself a highball glass, and you're going to need ice, which we have, and pineapple juice. So, first thing you do is just fill up your glass of ice. That should be good. Then we take overproof rum. Okay, so if you remember the good old days, this would have been 151, Bacardi 151. You're going to do 1 ounce of that.
Looks like that 151 is almost empty.
No, it's full. It's a brand new bottle.
Okay.
Then you're going to get some Malibu coconut rum. And it's 1.5 ounces. Of that. Then it's 4 ounces, actually 4.5 ounces of pineapple juice. Which is just about 1 full of the little bitty cans. Then just stir with your straw. You can garnish with pineapple if you happen to have it. I don't. And you have a fairly high proof summertime drink, actually. Very nice. So.
The only thing I say about that, Shaggy, is the overproof rum is usually meant to be put in last as more of a float.
Well, I'll take it this way.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine.
I don't think I'd want to drink overproof rum straight. I would,
No, it was. And those kinds of drinks, though, the overproof rum was never a flavorant. It was added at the end just to add some more alcohol to it. It was not. It was meant to, drift down into the drink.
And for those of you that are unfamiliar with overproof rum, this happens to be 63% alcohol by volume. So, I think overproof is considered anything above 40. So,
yep.
But
makes sense.
Pretty decent little drink. Like I said, very easy to make, and it is one of those nice little summertimey drinks. So if you happen to want to sit out on the porch or whatever,
Now, is the Malibu, is that coconut or is that pineapple rum?
It's coconut. So this is
okay, because
it's rum with coconut liqueur, actually.
Okay.
So,
because I actually have Malibu coconut rum, and I have Malibu pineapple rum, which, by the way, go phenomenal when you're making pina coladas. It's the only time I'll drink pineapple, anything.
Huh. Yeah, see, this is really the first time, because I don't deal with coconut. I don't deal with Malibu rum a whole lot. It got left over here after a birthday party when they were making...
It usually does.
Yeah. They were making...
Nobody buys Malibu. It just shows up after a party.
Yeah, they were making spiked ices and using this on it. And, I mean, nobody was complaining about it, certainly. I mean, there wasn't a single complaint in the house. But, wouldn't have been something I would have gone out and bought, that's for sure. But it's just kind of is what it is. So, anyway, all right, let's go back to the studio.
Oh, well, that was quick.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Very quick.
Yeah.
Must not have been set to reset. So, all right. And we're back. But I'm glad everything worked.
Yeah, I'm back to just straight Terramana with tequila with some fresh squeezed wonderful halo in there. What is it? Clementine, Mandarin, whatever the hell.
And the Terramano, that is the Rock's tequila, right?
This is tequila. I never thought the day would come where I would become a tequila drinker, but here it is.
You know, I'm kind of with you. I'm usually not a fruity drink person, but this is actually fairly good. So, maybe it's one that I'll keep in the repertoire. Make again. So, but, not bad. But my wife's like, why do you need overproof rum? Why do you need rum that's more stronger than rum? I'm like, I don't know. A lot of recipes call for it, and why not?
All of those rum drinks were very carefully created for all the different kinds of rums. And so it actually is very important that you know which rum went with what recipe, and you actually get that rum. But some of the rums have more or less alcohol, so they balance it by throwing the overproof on top just to bring it up to be the level that the customers expected.
Yeah, so this is called the Caribou Lou, by the way, for those of you interested, now that I'm back
Caribou
here.
Lou, okay.
Caribou Lou. And it actually just says, pour ice cubes into a highball glass, pour in the rum and the Malibu coconut rum, top with pineapple juice. So it doesn't say specifically to use the rum as a topper. It actually says top with the pineapple juice. So.
Oh, that is a drink from a 2006 single.
Yeah.
That literally is in the words of the song.
So. But no, we do kind of need a drink to get through this topic. We'll go ahead and get into this, which is actually, it's a carryover from the last show that we didn't quite get to. So if you have been following along with the show, the last few years, probably about the last 6 years, up until 2021 here, we did something called the Celebrity Death Pool. And, it gaining interest, and then the last year, not quite as much. So we decided this year, especially with COVID, that we weren't going to do it. Which turns out it's a great thing, because not that long ago, probably about 2.5 months, I got a letter from a lawyer who said that he represented the Associated Press and was not happy with our usage of certain celebrity images. And so after doing some research, because anytime somebody sends you something, you should always do research and see if it's legit or not, especially when they're asking for large amounts of money. All right. Whether it's a prince or, whatever, you should always do research. All right. So I found out that this guy was actually legit, and, this is our hobby. We don't make any money off of this. So it was a large amount that they were asking for. Quite honestly, an obscene amount that was being asked for. So won't go into a whole lot of the details, but we ended up working them down to still a large amount and getting it taken care of. But, in doing that, we had to remove all of the death pool pages from our website. So if you go to the website and you see that they're missing, that's why. We probably didn't have to remove all of them, but just to be on the safe side, went ahead and did it anyway.
Yeah. So if they come back, and we're still kind of discussing it, if they come back, it's going to be text only, and it'll probably just be a spreadsheet format of the tracking sheet that I keep anyway.
Yeah. So, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad that, organizations are going after individuals like ourselves. If you remember the RIAA, back when Napster was a thing, going after little grandmas whose, grandchildren downloaded a couple of Metallica songs and they were going after them for hundreds of thousands of dollars. it's very much still the same methodology. It's the same thing. It's just a different player.
So I had a couple of thoughts on this one when you told me about it. The first one was like, when I went and looked it up, the first thing I found was, this firm is authorized to represent the Associated Press, among other larger clients, but the Associated Press does not direct them to.
Yes.
So somebody from this firm went out and found our page, found the pictures, and basically is collecting a commission, and the Associated Press is like, okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah. The way that I've read this works is basically they send a note to the Associated Press saying, hey, do you mind if we look for these infringements? And if we find them, we will take an 80% commission and give you about 20%. And the Associated Press goes, well, it's money we don't have now, so what the heck? And so these lawyers just make a butt ton of money. As with anything involving lawyers make a butt ton of money off of it, and nobody gets rich except for them. It would be completely different if this actually went to the artist or the photographer or whatever. And honestly, it was a misinterpretation of mine as to what was fair use. So it is, we're not arguing that we were wrong. We fully take responsibility for what we did. It was a misunderstanding of ours. And so, we're trying to, just educate people about what's going on with our show, because people are interested in what's going on with our show and why we make certain decisions. And so we just want to make sure that you're aware this is why we're making this decision. We jokingly said, well, we'll just do a GoFundMe, but that's not the way that we work, right? In general, we don't ask for money from listeners. We don't do any of that stuff. And, we really don't intend to. If we ever do, there will be something in it for you as well. If we ever put up a store or anything like that, that's how we would recoup some money from whatever we decided to do.
Right.
So, but I just wanted people to be aware of why the website changed, and it'll change again. I still have the plans to redo the website, and we're not just going to have a text-only website like back in the early 90s. Although I did consider what will it cost to license a flying toaster, but I don't think we're going to do that. We will, we'll find something that's nice and appropriate, and we'll continue to have our site as we normally do. So, but definitely not a fun thing for us to go through, and it's just
this is not like a copyright thing, like on YouTube where they're like, okay, we're gonna mute you, or you're not gonna be seen in these countries, or you cannot monetize your
or it's gonna get monetized, but they'll get the money for it, which would have been perfectly acceptable to us. We're like, fine, if you want none of our money that we make, that's fine. I was actually asked by a buddy of mine who, does another podcast. He's like, well, didn't they send you a cease and desist first? I'm like, no, they just go for blood first. There's no such thing.
When it comes to photography, they're the mafia.
Yeah. I'm like, no.
If you have if you have a blog somewhere and you stick a picture up on there, and they decide to come and bill you $8,000 for having it on your free blog, there's really not much you can do about it other than bend over.
Mm-hmm.
Because image copyright is really that powerful.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, red light cameras, that's not, I guess that's not the same case as it was in New Jersey, because New Jersey, they were actually found to be unconstitutional, and there are cameras on every damn intersection in New Jersey, but guess what? They're all turned off.
Yeah.
They cannot be used for traffic enforcement. And I don't know exactly why it happened. I think it's because it was not targeting the driver, it was targeting the owner of the vehicle, which
a lot
is
of times
not always the driver.
Yeah, a lot of times that was it. It was incorrect identification. There's also instances where the plate reader is incorrect. There was also instances of, where it's right to face your accuser. There were all kinds of different challenges to red light cameras, speed cameras, etc. out there. Now, I won't say all of them were successful everywhere. It definitely depends on your jurisdiction, what was deemed correct or not. But
there's no federal guide there.
Yeah.
So
now,
just as a quick primer, but we are not lawyers. Do not take this as legal advice. But as far as what legal use is on images, it is you can show an image if you're talking about the image itself. So if someone takes like a picture of something with their finger stuck into it, and you want to show this picture and say, "Hey, look at this stupid picture where they got a picture where they got their finger in it." You can do that. But if you're sticking the image up to talk about what it is a picture of, you can't do that.
Basically, the rule as I understand it, and like Colin said, we're not legal experts here, is if you want to talk about the composure of the photo, okay, so the lighting, the aspect ratio, whatever. If you want to talk about the stylistic choice of the photo, that's fine. You're covered under fair use because you're criticizing the photo, not the contents of the photo. If you're discussing the contents of the photo, that is not fair use because the copyright holder doesn't own the contents of the photo. They own the photo. So you're not discussing the photo, the thing that the copyright is against. You're discussing the thing that the photo is of, which is different. Now, there is a little wiggle room. Like there was a question about, okay, well, what if the person who owns the thing is also the person who took the picture? Then it gets fuzzy. But, like I said, in general, if you don't have the copyright usage for it, don't do it. Have a photo plan that covers you would be my best suggestion. Or use royalty-free photos, but make sure they're from a reputable dealer because we found what are supposedly royalty-free photos, which in fact have copyrights against them, but have been uploaded incorrectly into royalty-free libraries. I've seen that a lot. So, and unfortunately, I've done a ton of research. There's no one great photo subscription service to belong to. Definitely not one that's cheap either. So this is a super expensive thing.
That's just it. Good and cheap are mutually exclusive when it comes to photo and image libraries.
Yeah, I was talking to Mike after the last show, and this doesn't just apply to photos. It actually applies to other things. I was using a font for a customer, and that font, depending upon your usage, was licensed different ways. If I was to use that font and write something on a graphic that then I was going to use that graphic on a website, that's a set price, right? I just have to license that font once. But if I was going to use that font as the font of the text of the website, then they were going to charge me based upon page views of the website annually.
Yeah.
Oh my God, licensing is ridiculous.
So
unless obviously you live in China, and then copyright doesn't matter, right? China, Japan. Well, what does copyright you speak of?
So I had to do a couple of custom designs in the past year or so, and one of them, the customer wanted a specific font. They sent me a Google snippet. This is the font I want. And it kind of showed the link of where it was available. I said, okay. And I went and I looked, and sure enough, it was only available in one spot. Mm-hmm. So guess what? That customer got billed the cost for my license to get that font.
Yeah.
It wasn't ridiculously expensive. I mean, if you talk about many fonts, then at $20 a pop, it adds up.
Yeah, and
you can't be expected to keep absorbing that cost.
It is the cost of doing business.
Once,
Yeah, and that's I guess you could term that this is the cost of our hobby, but it's a hobby. It's a hobby. None of us.
Yes,
You know.
I made money off of that sign.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Maybe I didn't make a lot because it was a friend, but I made money.
Yeah.
You don't make money at a hobby. Well, no, you could.
You could, but at that point, you've turned your hobby into a business. You know,
yeah.
It's not a hobby.
And that's going.
Yeah. So, all right. So I have a question for you guys, and this will be one that, we'll give credit to the author, but I want you guys to guess what, and let me make sure that I've got this up. And this should be, what? No, not that one. It should be, where's it at? I want to make sure that the sound is nice and loud for you guys so that you can hear this. All right. You guys, we're going to play Guess the Song. All right?
Guess the song.
Guess the song.
Okay.
Speaking of copyright, we're going to say Guess the Song. And hopefully there isn't an intro to this.
A Venn diagram of songs that you do and songs that I know. There's very little overlap.
All right.
It's true. Take on Me by Aha.
Yes, but do you know what the instrument of choice is in this case?
Cheeks.
Armpit?
Yes, he is hitting and slapping and flicking his cheeks.
Recognize the song.
I only know
because I can't remember the name of it.
I only know because I used to make that. I used to do that. I used to be able to do the water drop too, but then, I grew up.
Yes, by tapping his teeth, flicking his cheek, smacking himself in the face, and palm slap on the forehead.
Was this on America's Got Talent? Is this the one that all five of them are going to hit the buzzer for at the same time?
I don't know, but he should be. That's hilarious. Okay. All right. Let's see here. What else do we have on the white sheet for tonight? It's
just the one song. Okay.
Yeah, it's just the one song. Just the one song. All right. So we do need to talk about this. So Netflix. We love Netflix. We use it for our movie reviews. Netflix is releasing a new dating show called Sexy Beasts.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
So,
this literally is no. There's no reason for this at all. Okay, this is like didn't they have a show like Dating in the Dark or some crap where it was like a pitch black room and you had to get to know the person that way?
Oh, I don't know.
No. So they make these people look like extras off of Deep Space Nine, right? And that's how they meet.
Yeah.
And they have to decide. So I get the virtue that they're trying to promote here, right? I get the idea. But no, this is just somebody who decided they wanted to make a name for themselves doing makeup. That's who came up with this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is basically they took the winners of that Face Off. What's that other show? Where they actually do this makeup.
Yeah, I think
And they said, okay, we'll hire those people to do these people's makeup, and then we'll make a dating show out of it. So on Wednesday, the company dropped the first trailer for Sexy Beasts, a dating show that adds an interesting twist to the blind date by applying elaborate cosmetics to contestants to hide their true identity while looking for potential partners. The article on Bro Bible goes on to say, while I'm sure the furry community is very excited about Sexy Beasts, I can't say I feel the same way. Author says, well, I could probably write an essay to explain, But if pictures are indeed worth 1,000 words, here's a visual long read that sums things up better than I ever could. And it is pretty darn hilarious the way these people look. So, here is the Minotaur, the Tin Man, I guess, and I don't know, an alien guy. Then we have Beaver and Tiger Woman or Leopard Woman.
They're going skeet shooting.
Yes. And then we have, I don't know what she is.
Owl?
Okay. Owl and
A fox.
I thought a fox's nose was longer. He's not a wolf.
A fox should be redder.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he is.
Okay,
it could be a gray fox.
It's got to be a fox, because the only thing I can think of when I see this is, what would the fox say? And if you put me in that makeup and I didn't, oh hell no.
And then we have a baboon and the devil. Okay.
And it's not just a normal baboon; it's one of those rainbow snoot baboons, the one that has the butt that sticks out.
Yeah, it has the cheeky butt. So yeah. The
dolphin.
There's
a panda. There's the
dolphin.
That's what that is.
With the dildo nose is the most, that's the one that disturbs me the most.
This is beyond creepy.
I don't know.
Like that picture looks like a
that's a nightmare.
If you just showed me that picture, that's where I said it looks like an extra from Deep Space Nine.
That's just a nightmare. That's nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Well, DS9, no. Maybe Babylon 5 a bit.
If you put a gem in that blowhole and backlight it, that is an alien from some weird Star Trek show.
Maybe, or maybe not Deep Space Nine. What's Deep Sequest DSV?
Oh my God! Don't
no,
put her with
aliens there.
Don't put her with. Well, they did. That's what ruined the show.
Well, yeah, that one episode, yeah. So
and
that reminds
do we not remember when DSV wound up in the middle of a cornfield?
Yeah, that was the whole reason.
I remember they decided that it was totally stupid. So ending up in the middle of the cornfield was the new producers fixing it by saying, "Okay, the aliens are gone. The entire ship somehow came back, and we're never going to speak of it again."
That was the whole reason for the third season. Was that they came back from the alien war?
I mean, okay, so yes, they do. All the characters look amazing.
Yeah,
that is true.
Good makeup job.
If that's the basis of your damn show.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is something this reminds me of, actually from Babylon 5. Okay. So the guy who wrote Babylon 5 noticed one day, for those who hadn't seen it, there's one race called the Minbari. And he noticed that in the lunchroom, all the Narn were sitting together and all the Minbari were sitting together. So he decided, just as an experiment, he had them change one of those extras every day, so that he was now a Narn instead of a Minbari. And the next day, so he still sat with the people he used to sit with, but after a couple of days, he was now sitting with the other people with his makeup. So wearing makeup can actually change how you see everybody else and how you interact with each other. So I don't know. They may have an actual concept here.
Well, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Do I think it's going to be a mainstream hit like that Fox is going to try and copy next season? No. But it could be it could be interesting. I just don't know about the longevity of it, because even when you look at The Masked Singer, okay, you're running out of characters real quick that are semi-feasible. So at what point does the makeup it's almost like overdriving a headlight here. Like, at what point did they say, yeah, we've done enough with all of these characters? I just don't know how far they'll go with it. It's a very niche audience. That's what I think the concern is. First season, people will watch it to tune in the same way people tune in to watch Honey Boo Boo. Okay? It's a train wreck, and they want to see it. Or curiosity, whatever.
Now, if IMDb is correct, there's one very good reason, Mike, why you're not going to like Sexy Beasts.
It's British, isn't it?
According to IMDb, although it has an American, I think Rob Delaney's American, right?
So, here,
yeah, he's
okay,
awesome.
You know what? Here's the experiment now.
Yep.
Do if I can't look at them and see, now I have to watch it and see if the makeup influences my opinion of the show, knowing that it's British, but they're all in costume, if you will.
Makeup's not going to change their voice. You'll still know it's British. I mean, unless the dolphins start going, ah, you know. I mean,
or the fox goes out, ding 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 ding.
Okay, wait. So this originally, okay.
Let me guess. It was originally a British show.
An existing UK show.
Oh, imagine that. We're stealing the Brits' content again. Oh, never heard that one before.
Maybe my hatred for the British is more jealousy, because it seems like every show that I start to like turns out was a copy of a British show, and I'm pissed off that an American didn't come up with the idea first. Like, Call Me Kat is based off of a British show. I just found this out last week, and while I like the show, now I have mixed feelings about it, because, you know, let's face it, Leslie Jordan is the whole reason that I watched that show. But
well, there is no Leslie Jordan equivalent in the original UK show.
There's no Leslie Jordan equivalent in Britain. And if you try and tell me Warwick Davis is, I will have to fight you, because it's not happening. Leslie Jordan, when he's in a movie, he shows up for more than 5 minutes. All right, so listen, I got to talk about this one here. All right, I am a member, and we've talked about this. I am a member, begrudgingly, thanks to Mama Blair, of the Aldi Isle of Shame community group on Facebook. Okay? And for those who aren't familiar, the Isle of Shame in Aldi is where they have all the seasonal and limited time items.
Yep.
So I have commented there, and there's apparently two groups. There's an Isle of Shame group, and there's an a Karen-free Isle of Shame group. And I am in the Karen group, because I got Karen'd big time. We just had concrete sidewalks placed in our yard a couple weeks ago, and Kim put down a nice coir mat, like the coconut fiber mat, welcome mat on the concrete to the backyard from Aldi. We had a monsoon of a rainstorm. Now, we've bought these mats before from all over the place, you know. And a monsoon of a rainstorm, and she comes in, she says, "Don't ever let me buy one of those mats again." I said, "Why?" She says, "We got a problem." She takes me outside, moves the mat. There's a big rust-colored stain because the mat ran. We never had dye running like this before. She said, "I sprayed it with the chlorine, which is the Aldi bleach cleaner, and tried to scrub it, and it didn't come up." I said, "Oh, really now?" I said, "What else did you try?" She goes, "That's all I tried, and then I came to get you." I said, "Okay, hook the pressure washer up." Doesn't do nothing. Now I'm pissed. Threw it in the garbage. And I said, "Oh, well, wait a minute. Before it meets its fate in the garbage, let me warn people in the Isle of Shame community that this this is what happened with the mat.
Okay.
Wow. The notifications on my phone went off ridiculous. Okay. Within a few minutes, somebody posts up that this has happened to me with the same type of rugs from Target and Walmart, so it's not just the ones from Aldi. Now, I've gone back and I have the thread up in the group now, and apparently the moderators decided to step in and edit the hell out of my thread because a lot of the comments are gone. My original comment reply to that was, good to know. Lesson learned, don't let the wife buy these from anywhere. Suddenly, I'm a misogynistic, microaggressive person.
Oh, geez. Really?
The count in force.
Oh. That's just
I could not believe. I actually replied and I said, y'all take this way too crazy, and explained. The reason I phrased it that way, because the wife said to me, don't let me buy this kind of rug anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then I had somebody telling me pressure washer. I said, yeah, hello, read that. I already tried it, Nitz. Then their answer was, get a stronger pressure washer. And they all jumped on him.
No.
And I didn't have a problem with it. I was like, okay, fine. I didn't have a problem with this guy. But they all jumped on him for being a snarky guy. I guess that's all he does. And, well, that comment's gone, too. Then I had somebody. This one I had the sense to screenshot because this one just actually, there was no justification on this one.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up real quick. Because the comment was, so literally you are blaming a mat because you have no common sense. Wow, and a bunch of emojis. Somebody says, was this comment necessary? And the poster comes back and says, yes, she's blaming a mat. So I replied back, she? So I can get called out for a joke about my wife, but calling a man she is okay? Where are the admins? And I put a bunch of smiley faces after it, and then she called me she again and continued to go back at me. And I said, you're still not apologizing. So then they went and deleted that comment. And I said, or edited and changed she to he. And I said, well, you still haven't apologized. And by the way, I screenshotted your comment, so you can't go denying it. So what'd they do? They deleted that comment altogether and allegedly got rid of all the evidence. So I go back to the one where the microaggression thing came around. And I showed Kim, and she's like, are you kidding me, really? Somebody replies, has this now become the group where we argue, disagree, call out others over microaggressions? No, there was no microaggression. Fuck you. And try to control others' narratives? Nope, sure isn't. Please stop sucking the joy out of this group. We are all grown. Y'all took one comment and got bent out of shape. Dear Lord, don't we have shopping to do with the Aldi Isle of Shame or something? Sheesh. Listen to me. First of all, there was no microaggression, so get that out of your damn skull. This is how it ended. So somebody then also suggested tequila, ketchup, and a scrub brush. You're welcome. That was the comment. I said, wait, am I drinking the tequila? Or this sounds like some type stuff here.
I was going to ask that question. Yeah.
And she said,
drink enough tequila that you don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm looking, and she didn't even say how that happened or she deleted it. I don't know. I did put a side note as a post. I refuse to do an edited to add, so whatever works will be posted in the comments. No. If my wife does not have a problem with me calling her the wife, because in my world, she is the wife. Yeah, because there is only one wife in my world.
You're not a Mormon, of course. You don't live in Utah.
So then it finally ends up. I give my final update. So what I tried to spray, it didn't work. I soaked paper towels in white vinegar, left it on there for 15 minutes. That worked a little bit. I made a paste of OxyClean with water, put it on there, scrubbed it in a little bit, let it sit. That worked pretty well. Then I said, okay, final update. Someone asked earlier how I made Oxy paste. Just drip water into a pile of OxyClean powder and mix it so you get a paste, kind of like making a pancake mix or a cement or whatever. I was going to do a second paste, but at that point I was frustrated and tired and a wee bit tipsy thanks to the previous suggestion of tequila.
Yeah.
Of course, getting to that point made me wander in the garage a bit, and seeing my goalie gear made me think, aha, where's the stuff that I used on those white gloves I bought? What I wound up using instead of the paste the second time was OxyClean gel and a nylon scrub brush. Worked that in with the brush, let it sit for 20 minutes. Stain is gone enough that if you didn't know. And I said, as for this kind of rug and all that noise, folks, this is the first rug of that kind that's stained this bad in the 13 plus years in this house. Out of spite, I pulled the rug out of the garbage. I power washed the hell out of it with my weak electric power washer. I told the wife, settle down, that if she chooses to put that rug back on concrete, she will be scrubbing while I drink. Now, I actually went to Aldi's today. And while we were there, Kim realized as we were checking out, oh crap, they have the cat beds in the aisle of shame. I didn't see them. I look, I'm like, I see it right there. There's a lobster right there. Go get it. She runs up, she goes, gets it. She comes back, and I hand it to the cashier. I say, can you add this to, is it too late? Can I add this, please? It's stupid aisle of shame. Caw-caw! Caw-caw! And my wife's like, really? You're doing the caw-caw? I said, damn right, I'm going to try. I need to find the other Isle of Shame community, because this one, I'm getting tired of seeing everybody post up about how their gazebos break in the slightest bit of wind or rain. They don't know what kind of chemicals to use in the pool. Everybody's getting the same dresses that apparently there's a worldwide network of people. I'm going to the Aldi in Oshkosh Bagosh. Does anyone need a dress?
Really?
There was a whole thing about, yes, I'm not even lying. There was a whole thing about it. So there was another post earlier today. Now I got to find this one real quick. So somebody asks in this group, says, how many other guys are in here? It dawned on me tonight that while I see my feed filled with posts, I never see any from Aldi Dudes of America. Maybe that wasn't the most thought through name. So somebody, good Lord, 326 answers, and this was just posted a day ago. Come on now. Somebody posted up that, let me see if it's easier for me to just find.
Well, I'm just looking, and I think I found another cat bed that you should try, Mike.
Okay, so here it is. Somebody posts up, all these dudes showing up now. And I said, showing up now? Psh, we've been here all along. You just never noticed because we don't edit to add. And she says, it was a play on all D's. I see guys here all the time. They just don't buy and post dresses. I said, correct. And when we do post, we're called female and microaggressors.
So Mike, I don't know if this
bunch of savages in this group. So Cisco, yes, I should have said, my old lady. I used to own a motorcycle.
The Karens love that.
Try calling her, instead of calling her the wife, you should try calling her the wife.
That's what I call her.
I know. Just hit the other E.
Just
the.
No, just start with thy wife. Just do thy wife. Go Old English.
No. Thy wife is somebody else's wife.
I just call, most of the time I'm just Neanderthal about it, and I'm just like, wife.
I found, Mike, I don't know if this maybe is the cat bed that you bought or not, but it should have been. So was that the cat bed?
They did not have the pineapple.
Okay.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. They had the pineapple, but Kim, we picked the crab.
Okay.
Or the lobster. I don't know. It's something red with a claw and eyes. I mean.
And I'm sorry. I went through the Aldi Reddit group, and now I'm seeing this.
There's a Reddit group. Oh, great.
Now I'm seeing this and thinking I need to go. Some Pear Secco dry cider sounds yummy.
Yeah. See, they don't sell alcohol in the grocery stores here in Jersey.
I need me some of that.
Yeah, whenever I go to another state like that, I'm just like, or like in Florida, you can buy beer, but you have to go if you want some, any liquor, you have to go somewhere else. It's just like it's such a culture shock. Because here in Illinois, you can go just about anywhere and get the strongest liquor you want, and we can pump our own gas too. We just can't use fireworks. Yes. That's probably maybe there's a combination of pumping our own gas and not having fireworks.
So Jersey, you have to go to a liquor store for beer, wine, or hard alcohol. I think up in Maine you can get beer and wine in the liquor store. No, actually, I think you can get hard alcohol in the liquor store too, or in the grocery store. In like New Hampshire. Beer and wine are in the grocery store, but hard liquor you have to go to a state store. Mm-hmm. I think. Yeah, so I it's like that down Virginia's like that too. You can get beer and wine in a grocery store and convenience store, but you have to go to a state store for hard alcohol. So it is very different. No, not even beer in a grocery store. New Jersey is such a communist state. Listen, New Germany, as we're starting to call it, such a communist state that even like like Costco, okay, there are Costco's all over, but only 2 locations in New Jersey are allowed to sell alcohol because the state is when it has a big, if it's a big chain like that, they are only allowed 2 liquor licenses per chain. So BJ's only has 2 wholesale clubs that can sell alcohol. Sam's and Wegmans got smart about it. Their liquor stores are not part of the they're part of the building, but they're not part of the store. So they're owned and operated independently, but they're right there, right?
So Mike, I know you guys have the pool in the backyard, but maybe you guys want a sprinkler to go along with the pool. And I think I found you an Aldi sprinkler that you need.
I'm not buying an Aldi sprinkler.
So here's the out view of it.
Nope.
Here, look, it's a dino sprinkler.
No, because I have read enough of the complaints about this one and the stupid unicorn one that apparently they leak and water gets in elsewhere and you can't deflate them. Or they won't stand up straight. And listen, there are some things. We were walking down the aisle today, and there was an electric smoker for $110. I was like, you know what? I don't own a smoker, but I like my neighbors. But I could smoke. I don't like neighbors on the other side, so I could smoke. There are some things that I am not going to trust from Aldi. A kettle grill? Yes, that's just a piece of metal that you can put charcoal in. I'll trust that. An electric smoker? Probably not. A swimming pool? Probably not. I might as well. Aldi starts selling laptops. Probably not going to buy one.
don't know why not. They did. I think on last Black Friday, they had laptop. They had electronics. They had a laptop.
They had a tablet.
I thought they had a Chromebook or something.
Well, maybe they did. I just as soon buy what's the house brand at Walmart now? Olive oil, right?
Yeah.
EVOO?
Yeah. That's extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah. Just soon buy one of those. Apparently those, for the price, if you can get them you can get an i5 for under $200 if you catch it right on sale. A 14-inch i5.
Now,
you know what?
Have you
I'd try that.
Have you bought your dogs any clothes at Aldi's?
None of my dogs will wear clothes
Look, because you can buy them an Aldi hat.
Nobody would wear it. Or they pee while we're trying to put it on them.
Oh.
Now, so side note, if you are interested in buying a smoker, I've done lots of smoker research recently, so just saying.
All right. I am interested, but not right now because, well,
it's too hot.
Eventually.
It's too hot.
Eventually, I'll probably get one, when we move, and I have the time and the space to do it right.
Yeah. All right.
This is an Aldi cup that I bought today, and I said, "Oh, this will be good for my drinks." So it's not that I don't. I love Aldi. Don't get me wrong. But some of the stuff.
I mean,
some of these folks in this aisle of shame, they're like, "Oh, I have to go my store puts stuff out every Sunday. I am first in line. I am right there." Bruh. Let's just be clear. The stuff is not all that great. And it's not even all that cheap either.
Okay. Another place that's beloved by people, Home Depot. Some people visit it on the regular. Now, I don't quite get this, but evidently, back in June, late June, in Dixon City, Lackawanna County, there was a report of an exorcism which took place at a local Home Depot. Now, that may be a great place to buy the wood to make your cross. I don't know necessarily that you want to perform the exorcism at the Home Depot. Now, what's weird here is it said exorcism in this case was for trees. Are trees possessed by the devil all that much? We go to our senior exorcism correspondent, Colin. Colin, are trees possessed
Almost
very
never.
often? Never, you say. Almost never? So, luckily, we go now to our in the field reporter, Mr. Shathid. Mr. Shathid, you're there in Dixon City, Lackawanna County. I believe you saw this exorcism for the trees. Can you tell us about it, please?
I advise you all to please put the children to bed.
Okay.
Or tell them go to other room.
Okay.
Mr. Shetid's language will not be good about this.
Mm-hmm.
They gone?
They're gone. Yeah, we're covered.
They gone.
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
Okay. Yeah, you don't believe that the trees were actually possessed.
This is as bad as the PTR peoples that you cover, mourning the loss of all the old growth trees in the forest, the tree people, hippies, screaming because trees cut down. Meanwhile, they are gathered around the campfire, What the fuck are they burning?
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
It's like vegans wearing Air Jordans. Air Jordans are leather.
Yep. Now we do have a response, from the exorcist herself. Listen carefully here.
An extremist eco group called Earth First bewails the violation of American nature.
I want to mourn the loss of all the old growth trees I've seen.
These are the people that worship the Helen Keller with the These people then possessed 3 Cisco say in Poltergeist. No. Possessed 3 in Lord of Rings. Part 2. They walk, they possessed, have to get ring to pit. Whole movie of walking. Ginkgo tree is possessed. Ginkgo biloba is a wonderful drug and I smoke it daily. I do not understand why they need to do this in Home Depot.
I don't know either. Maybe they were looking for a quicker way to nail someone to a cross, and the nail guns were right there. They were very easily found. I'm just thinking.
This is not the British at all. How dare you? This is not a fan.
It could have been that they were afraid of bears actually going out into the forest, and so they thought that it would be safer to do it inside the Home Depot where the trees were rather than going out into the forest. I hear that there's a rash of bears out in the forest causing problems.
Of course there are bears in the forest. That's a stupid mistake to make.
Yeah.
Bears live in forests.
Yeah, and
they swim in your pool.
And they've caused a lot of problems like this.
Come here. Come on. Stop it, Bear. Stop it. Bear. Bear. Bear, you're breaking it. You're breaking my kayak. Why are you doing that? Why are you breaking my kayak? Why are you breaking my kayak?
What is?
What am I going to do? Why are you breaking my kayak?
Bears are evil.
Stop it.
I mean,
Bear, stop that.
I can understand.
Stop that, Bear.
I can understand why they would decide to do the tree exorcism in a Home Depot rather than in a forest with bears like that who attack kayaks.
That bear have serious microaggression issue.
Well, he couldn't find what he wanted in the Isle of Shame at Aldi's.
The woman probably bought less canoe in Isle of Shame. And bear wanted.
I mean, the bear wasn't having it either.
Please stop that. Please stop breaking my things. Oh, please stop breaking my things, Bear. Bear!
This child sounds very calm if Bear right there breaking canoe. Was she in canoe?
No, she wasn't in the canoe. This is what happens when you camp out in the forest.
This very different picture now. If she not in canoe and bear right there. First, I think canoe sink from amount of pee. Because bear right there. But now, I realize she not there. She not that brave. I understand why she cried. But bear, yes,
stop.
very bad bear.
Please
we know that.
stop
She
that,
said
Bear.
700 times,
Bear,
stop,
I don't
bear,
care.
bad
I'm
bear.
gonna bear spray you. Please stop. Bear. Bear.
I will not repeat this. If you want, you can read. I knew a guy named Bear. Wouldn't put it. That's true. Maybe he's Bear. But I also knew monkey named Bear. He was best friend, B.J. McKay.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Is this what world come to after COVID? I
Yes.
had COVID, you know.
You had COVID. Oh, we didn't
I
know
had
that.
COVID.
I'm glad to see that you're feeling better. I
I still feel like shit. I couldn't even pull it off. Son of a bitch. Damn it. I tried.
Oh boy.
Okay.
So I don't know how many people know about this, but do you guys know that there's been an ongoing cyber attack since late last week against most of the modern world?
You know, I heard something about it.
Oh,
you didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been. I can tell you, we've been responding to it at work since about Thursday afternoon. And it has been absolutely ridiculous. We, in the span of 5 minutes, we blocked over 4 million requests. And that was on a small amount of traffic that we were blocking. So, I mean, the hackers are really ramping it up. In fact, one of the gangs behind it has demanded $70 million in Bitcoin. It's Revil claims that its malware, which initially targeted U.S. IT firms, has hit 1 million systems.
So I was reading about that. They actually think that the $70 million thing might be desperation by the hackers.
Oh, yeah? Why?
Yeah, because that particular attack actually captured way more computers than they expected.
So,
like, if each individual machine had its ransom paid, it'd be more like $70 billion, not $1 million. So the thinking is that they decided to, hey, give us $70 million in Bitcoin, and we'll just undo all of them all at once. And so we can make this go
So
away.
in other words, they got too much heat on them right now. And they're like, listen, we'll cut you a break. What a bargain. We'll go away.
I think it's less heat and more they can't actually, their machines are not fast enough to take all the individual ransoms.
I mean,
so they just want one big ransom.
Yeah. So, I mean, but between this, we got stuff going on in both the private and the public sector. I mean, it's just gone nuts out there right now. It is, and whether it's because of the 4th of July holiday, and so they expected lower IT presence, watching things or what, but, it really is a ramp up of what we've seen online. So, that does go back to teach you, take care of your backups. That's one of the golden rules. And that's what a lot of people don't take care of. And even those people that are in the cloud, their backups are still important. Believe it or not, you're still responsible for your data. It's pretty ridiculous how many people have gotten hit. I know several people that have gotten hit. And, I'm like, listen, I wouldn't pay it. I would just, take the loss. I know it's hard. You probably lost photos, you probably lost documents, but you're just perpetuating a cycle if you actually pay, and take this as a lesson learned, unfortunately. So, it's definitely not easy, but it's what you got to do. So, I mean, it's crazy out there right now. And that's driving, unfortunately, some people to really jump into prepper mode, to talk about, hey, we want to be able to go off grid. We want to, my dad was talking about a buddy of his who, he left the state because he wanted to go to a free state, whatever that means. and bought some land, and now he's digging a well, and he's going to go on solar, and he wants to be able to put pads out there and basically create his own little commune. You got to have a skill if you're going to be on his land, and to recreate society. I mean, it's like next level stuff.
Wasn't that one of the guys in Mountain Men? That TV show. The guy's friend was Preston. I don't know. He had like a commune and was teaching survival skills, and like when he started feeling bad, he went and walked the woods to find yellow root, and then sat in a sauna for an hour to sweat out the. I mean,
I don't know that one.
I gotta look.
But I remember there was a show. I want to say it was called The Colony, and I know there's been a lot of shows called The Colony, so it probably it might not be that. But there was a show, and I think it was it was. It's back in 2009. And
that was the one where it was supposed to be like after
post-apocalyptic. Yeah, and then they did a second one that was supposed to be a biological outbreak, and it wasn't. Yeah, I don't think I watched season 2. I think all I watched was season 1. And it was interesting. Let's put it that way. I don't know. Again, it's one of those where, it looks like it's on Discovery. Oh, cool. Maybe I'll dust off my Discovery Go and watch it on Discovery Plus. Because it's a show that, it's weirdly interesting. And I haven't watched it. I've only watched it a long time ago, but, we'll see. Yeah. But it was just it was one of those weird post-apocalyptic shows. So, like a Survivor type show. So, I don't know. It was I'll tell you what I have been watching. I took Colin's advice. I have been watching the Great Stand Up to Cancer Bake Off.
Yes.
In the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, and that's pretty fun. I watched one last night with Richard Dreyfuss in it. And it's another one of those interesting, fun shows. And evidently there's a junior Bake Off that we might watch as well. So,
I'm not. So I didn't. What did I watch? I watched Black Summer this past week, which was supposedly. I didn't realize it's like a zombie series, but little did I know it's done by the Asylum.
Oh.
And it's actually like a serious kind of thriller type, like suspenseful kind of in the vein of Walking Dead. But then I also watched the movies that we had to review for this show, and oh God.
Yeah, I watched one, as I said before the show. I was planning on watching more of them today, but I ended up only getting one watch today. It's my wife's father, my wife's dad passed away over a year ago now, and so we've been slowly going through the house, trying to get stuff done because there's 3 kids total that have to go through it, and it is just a monumental task to go through that, especially if the parents lived through the Depression.
Oh,
because Depression era people saved everything. All right. Whether they needed it or not, they weren't sure whether they might need it eventually, so they just held on to it. And there was everything. We found it was a Campbell's soup, like instant soup bowl in the cabinet. He was saving the plastic soup disposable bowl because he might need it again sometime. We probably found, I don't know, 50,000 buttons, because before they would throw a shirt away, they would take all the buttons off of it and put it into a tin, because who knows, you might need a button. You name it. We found a bag today of just mail. It was mail from the 70s. I mean, we're going to have to find a shred event because of all the paperwork we found. They kept receipts to everything. My wife found the receipt from when her parents loaned her money for her first car, which was,
Lord.
long time ago. And so, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that these guys, they kept.
Yeah.
So yeah, my grandmother has moved to an apartment and is selling her house, so we're dealing with it. Well, my parents are actually dealing with that more than I have.
It's just
I've been busy working.
It's just incredible how much stuff they have, and it just fills, everything you can think of. So yeah, that has been, it's been a process, let me tell you, of just getting that house ready. And so, now we are, well, I won't go into that story, not online. Anyway, that's for after the show. But, so yeah, there's just a lot of stuff to go through. And so it took most of the day to do that, which I wasn't anticipating. But I did find some cool tools that I got to hold on to. So, yeah, that's nice.
So, Mama Blair, just real quick before we go into the movies here, we've learned from Clean Out Experience to clean out our stuff now. Yeah, that's kind of where Kim and I are at.
Yeah.
And we are trying to kind of instill that on our parents. My mother, good Lord.
Yeah.
But I digress.
No, I mean it's totally true, because we've done the same thing. When we bring something into the house, especially from her parents' house, I'm like, okay, is this something the kids are going to have to just pitch, or does this have an actual use, because it's I mean, it's just something that you have to think about now, because it's ridiculous the amount of stuff that comes in. So yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, all right. So we do have two movies that we're supposed to review tonight. We have Stowaway, which is a Netflix original, and then we also have The Hungover Games, which is on Amazon Prime. So first question. So I did not finish watching The Hungover Games. So do we want to continue to do the reviews tonight, or do we want to do them both on the next show, or what do we want to do? I'll leave it up to you guys.
I'm okay with just pushing these to the next show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have other TV and movie stuff that we can talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yes.
there definitely is plenty of television news and other movie news to talk about. So Colin, did you actually go to the movie theater?
I went to the movie theater. I went to the IMAX. I saw F9, which was funny because I looked at my tickets and I saw my seat was F9, and then I had to look back at it again to make sure that I wasn't reading the wrong line with the ticket. Which I chose my own seat. I just randomly grabbed a seat in the middle of the theater, and it happened to be F9. So it was a very enjoyable movie. It was definitely one of the stupidest movies I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
So I give you a quick example of the sheer stupidity of this movie. Two of them, actually. One is they find these super powerful electromagnets, but not only can you turn the dial one way and, suck entire vehicles up off their tires and into your truck. You can turn them the other direction, and they magically become repulsing magnets, which does not exist. So that was stupidity number one. Stupidity number two, though, is they need to take out this. We
probably should have said spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no real spoilers for this. Neither of these are spoilers. The second one, because this is in the trailer too. The second thing that happens is they need to take out a satellite that's in low Earth orbit. So the way that they do this is they take a Pontiac Fiero and attach rocket motors to it, and then boost two of the characters up into space in a Pontiac Fiero wearing deep sea diving suits covered in duct tape.
Okay, so homemade spacesuits. All right, yep, that makes sense.
Yeah,
perfectly plausible.
Yeah, perfectly plausible because here's the issue on the purely scientific standpoint. Okay.
Yep.
Deep sea diving suits are meant to protect you from high pressure underneath the ocean.
Yeah.
There is a humongous difference between high pressure and no pressure.
Yep.
Yeah. No pressure is a very different thing than high pressure. But if anybody is going to a Fast and the Furious movie expecting anything close to scientific realism, they're in the wrong theater. But if you're looking for something mindless and explodey, and if you don't mind that the physics would be laughed at by Bugs Bunny, yeah, that's a good movie. Go see it.
Okay.
Now, while you were talking about magnets, I got up to get these. So Kim ordered something from Old Navy that happened to have the security tag still on it. I was like, okay, well, I go looking it up, and somebody says you can take. I took magnets out of an old hard drive. Well, I got a stack of dozens of hard drives over there.
Uh-huh.
I took apart. These are all the magnets. Now, here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently mine were not old enough. Come on, you.
The platters.
You see the little half moon?
Yeah.
Right. That's the magnet.
Uh-huh.
Getting it off of the rest of the plate so that I can make a stack of magnets? Not happening.
Yeah.
So I had this whole big stack, which, by the way, was not enough to get the tag off. We resorted to brute force. Cisco's asking,
magnets.
Wasn't it also funny how the magnets only worked on the specific target they wanted it to work on?
Yeah, it was very situational.
Right. Fear Street Part 1, 1994. We'll have to look at this one. Maybe we'll put it on the suggestion sheet. Movie-wise, since I don't know. So we talked about it briefly before the show. I watched The Tomorrow War on Amazon with Chris Pratt. And Colin, I'm kind of with you that I believe that if we tried to review that, it would be disqualified as a real movie.
Yes.
Maybe not necessarily a good movie, but a real movie.
Yeah. I would say that it would be a bad in the theater movie because it feels more like a miniseries than it does an actual single movie.
Yeah.
Like, if it's going to be in theaters, it's going to take a lot of editing.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was a good movie. It was worth the watch.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt has a very good way of playing a role very modestly. Like, his character could have very well had an ego about the whole thing, based on the situation he's put in and the way he performs and all. But no, he's just a very regular guy kind of guy in this role. And Yvonne Strahovski, I've missed her. I loved her in Chuck, and it's so good to see her back on the screen. But no, that was another good one. Now I've also started watching Loki. And I'm starting to get I'm starting to get mad.
Okay.
Because
I've only seen 1 and 2 so far.
It very much upsets me how they wipe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from, and I said this last week.
Yeah.
How they wiped it from Kanan. But the acting itself, I like. The storyline is actually pretty good. It's interesting, and I'm curious to see how it ties all together. But there's also been some kind of surprising cancellations, and a lot of shows have been getting canceled.
Yep. So,
Cisco, I don't know if you're talking about Fear Street or if you're talking about Tomorrow War as far as the aliens.
So I don't know if do you guys watch Rick and Morty at all?
No, only in Pringles commercials.
Okay. So I've only watched the first episode so far, but I was pretty happy with the first episode. I still have to get caught up with where they are, but I was glad to see them back in proper form. Bringing that series back. So, yeah. Let's see here. So those were renewed. Let's see here. I was trying to see if anything new that we typically would watch has been canceled since we last talked, but I don't think so. I think everything is pretty much we covered.
So we said Manifest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't checked to see if there's any new news on that one.
Did we talk about the Ellen DeGeneres show being canceled?
Yes.
Well, that wasn't canceled. She decided not to do it.
She's quitting.
Well, and Kelly Clarkson is officially moving to that time slot or taking over. Good Omens was renewed on Amazon, and I'm kind of surprised by this because that's been out for a while, and the renewal announcement just came out.
Yeah, I honestly
haven't surprised.
I haven't watched it, and I should because it's got people I like in it, but haven't watched it.
That's so, Mike. That's because it's British.
Of course.
But that's a true thing that British shows like that. They in the United States, if something is not renewed immediately, it's gone. In the UK, they're like, "Hey, we haven't done that show in like 8 years. Let's go ahead and do another series of it." And it's not called a renewal. It's just series 7.
Oh, thank God! Keeping Up with the Kardashians is over.
Yeah, but there's some spin-off thing happening.
Lost in Space is going to be canceled after the 3rd season?
Yeah, we knew that going into the 3rd season.
Oh.
That it was renewed for a 3rd and final. But Netflix went through a bloodbath because the Crew with Kevin James, where he's a NASCAR crew chief, that was canceled. Country Comfort, which is Leanne Rimes and Catherine McPhee, that was canceled. Mr. Iglesias, which was got the 3rd season coming up, that was canceled. Lovecraft Country, which I thought was, that was like an awards Darling this year. That was canceled after the first season.
Cool. Paradise PD
and
got
the
renewed,
Duggars,
which is cool.
The Duggars, Counting On, finally was canceled. So there are no 19 Kids, Duggars, and Counting. They're done.
Queer Eye got renewed for a 6th season.
Dad Stop Embarrassing Me was also canceled after 1 season on Netflix. That was a Jamie Foxx show. Grand Army on Netflix was canceled.
Resident Alien, which I haven't watched, but I kind of want to, has been renewed on Sci-Fi.
Now, this is a show that I kind of want to see, but I'm not. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I'm not going to pay for Apple TV just to get this, but it's a Jason Momoa show called C, where I think everybody is in the show is blind, and it's like a samurai type show. So,
well, paying for Apple Plus is worth it just for watching Ted Lasso. But
here you go, Mike. Saved by the Bell has been renewed for season 2.
Don't care.
So on the other side, so later this week, Leverage is coming back, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yes. That'll be interesting. Star Trek Lower Decks.
That's the animated show.
Oh, is it animated? Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's on Paramount Plus.
All right, don't care about that then.
Okay, so now I got to look up some of the. Was it Avenue 5? Was that? I don't know if Avenue 5 was renewed or canceled at this point.
Did we talk about Tosh.0 getting canceled? Oh, running out its final season?
Yes. And I thought that was. I think that was because they chose to end, which is not.
Yeah.
Or at least they got advance notice. It wasn't like Manifest where you're canceled.
Yeah.
This is now the series finale.
Young Sheldon has been renewed through season 7.
And they're only on season
4.
So and there was some talk about that because of the storyline, that apparently they renewed it that long because they're just starting to touch on the storyline where his father becomes the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a very unique situation where you've kind of got the storyline already established loosely by a previous series. So now you've got to...
Now you got to make him a bad guy.
Play it out. Yeah. Yep. Making the Cut season 2. What is Making the Cut? Why am I drawing a blank on this?
Basically Project Runway.
Okay. And I mean, look, a lot of these competition shows like Project Runway, the Bake Off shows, I'm not a huge fan of. MasterChef, I kind of like because, well, I don't know. I guess maybe because I've been cooking more, so I can relate. Crime Scene Kitchen has kind of sucked me in a little bit.
Has it?
Yeah, that was fun.
I've avoided that so far.
Oh, Crime Scene Kitchen is good. We can't stand U.S. MasterChef, so I haven't watched that one in years.
And what's Lego Masters? Sorry, I'm not down with that anymore.
No, me neither. It's fun to watch.
Very much so still.
I cannot stand. Who is that? Who's the host? Will
Arnett.
Will Arnett. Between him,
he's not. It's not my favorite. No.
Between him and who's the jackass that hosted that Tiger King reunion? He's Joel McHale. If you put
really, you don't like Joel McHale?
Will Arnett. If you put Will Arnett, Joel McHale is the biggest egomaniac there is. He did that Tiger King reunion special and made it all about him, and everybody's trying to find out about the damn characters and what have you. Man,
I liked him in Talk
if
Soup,
you
but
put
that's when he
him-
was first just starting out.
Well, yeah, that was before he got full of himself. If you took Will Arnett and Joel McHale and put them in the same show, I would probably not watch it because I can't stand either one of them.
It's a revelation and a half right there, Mike. I would probably not watch it.
You could have them hosting a game show together. You know, like let's say like Holy Moly, if they were the two commentators in the booth, and then you had, I don't know, Anna Kendrick doing the interviews and play-by-play and what have you down there. You know, I still wouldn't watch it because I'm sorry, the power of Anna is not enough to overcome that much douchery.
Did you see? Did you see that they are making a sequel to Knives Out?
I didn't see Knives Out, the first one. I probably should watch that, huh?
Oh, I so pulled the ripcord on that one.
Let me ask. Hold on. Let me ask. Is this like Noises Off?
No, not in any way. It's
Okay,
more
good.
of a Agatha Christie.
No offense. No. Okay. All right.
Stars David. Is it David Craig?
Daniel Craig.
Praise Bond.
Daniel
Daniel Craig.
Daniel
I knew something was wrong there.
It's definitely not David Craig. Daniel.
It had a
Craig.
D.
Yes.
And you know, like I'm even
Shaggy,
like Evan 5. I'm looking at
pulled
this.
the ripcord. I liked it very much, so much that I went ahead and bought it, so I had the commentary track.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
All right,
thanks.
so real quick, and I forgot because I told Kim I was probably going to mention this one, and I forgot about it during the whole fireworks discussion. It was so bad around here that we have a couple of outdoor like stray cats that been hanging around. A couple of outdoor cats that we've been trying to befriend. One of them scared by his own shadow. Marmalade, orange cat, will run the minute you make eye contact with him. The other one, Chonky, he kind of hangs around, can't touch him or nothing. Well, a couple weeks ago when we had to put our 17-year-old cat, Sammy, had to put him down, that night we got home and all of a sudden Marmalade was brushing up against Kim and wanted to be friends. Okay, this is a little weird. Last night he was in the backyard like meowing, like crying in a panic because of all the booms. So I'm in the living room and I hear Kim shooing the dogs out from the back room and I hear the door close and I'm like, oh God. I know what this means. She brought him into the back room.
Mm-hmm.
And of course he was freaked out at first, but then he decided he wanted to kind of be friends and just hung out there. And the minute she opened the door, once the booming stopped, he ran out and took off. She was a little upset by this, but while I was back there, here's the fun part of it. 4 out of 5 orange cats are males. And while I'm back there sitting with him and petting him and what have you, I'm looking and I'm like, wait a minute, that's a semicolon, not a colon. I actually took a picture and sent it to 2 of my friends who are vet techs. I said, pop quiz, male or female? The one replies back, orange, so I'd say male, but then again, I see a vajayjay. Marmalade is female.
Mm.
Chonky, the other one, is male. I said to Kim, I said, she better not have started coming around and being all friendly all of a sudden because she got a bun in the oven. Because I'm going to be very upset if we got kittens to deal with now.
Well, you know. It happens, and then you have more and more and more, and you just get, you know, all the animals. You get all the animals.
And one more little note here. Shaggy, I went back and finally started doing rally racing on dirt.
Yep.
Dirt 4. I'm very upset. I'm pissed. I was so pissed off because I finally got to a rally race where, hell, what are we racing on asphalt for? Rally cars don't drive well on asphalt. I've never cursed it more at this game than I have up until this point. I don't know if you've done this one yet.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I've made it that far yet. I don't know. I mean, I do like the rally more so than I like the other stuff. You know, but I'll tell you what, the most that it's gotten played lately is the middle grandchild comes over and says, "Can I play the car game?" And what does that mean? That means he gets set up in the sandbox in the little training area, and he just sees how badly he can wreck the car until it resets. And he just is ecstatic if he can break the windshield, knock off the fenders, you know. He loves looking all around the car going, "Look, I broke it. And I mean, he loves wrecking the car and, you know, flipping it and everything else. And I'm like, "Oh boy, that's not." I'm like, "Buddy, let's try and go straight." And he goes, "Okay." And so he goes straight into a building. You know, he wants to see how badly he can hurt it. And then he goes, "Look, I ruined my brakes. She says I don't have any brakes." I'm like, that's not the goal of the game, bud. That's not it.
Oh, yeah. I get the co-pilot telling me, "You hear that engine misfire?"
Yeah.
It sounds like we got a gear problem. The gear problem? This thing only has 3 gears.
I love it when you cross the finish line doing about 85, and she goes, "Slow down, slow down." And you're like, "No, keep going."
Okay, take it easy to the marshal. The hell with the marshal.
It's the only guy on the whole track you can't hit. You know, so. But, yeah, no, I haven't played that game in a little while. Maybe since I'm off this week, I will. But, I don't know. This week is supposed to be woodworking week. I'm supposed to be working on my headboard. So, I worked yesterday on cleaning off my bench so that I could find all my tools so that then I could start construction. And then today, it got spent at the father-in-law's house. So, tomorrow, I'm going to spend the day cleaning out the bedroom, making room for everything, and then start my measurements and, you know, start figuring out what I'm going to do. But that's the goal, at least. So,
Mom Blair wants to know if there's a Demolition Derby game. I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you got the nephew having to deal with AI trying to crash him.
Yeah. He's just by himself in this one. He's quite happy. So, but anyway, yep. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. I think it's probably time to call it this episode.
Yep.
So I want to thank everybody for tuning in and following along with the show. Don't forget, you can always check out the website, ptrradio.com. You can also follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, at PTR Radio, as well as Instagram. All those channels just at PTR Radio. We're going to be back in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we will do our movie review that we missed out on today. So that'll be on the 19th. And so we will have Stowaway and the Hungover games for then. And who knows, maybe we'll pick just one more maybe to watch. I don't know. But we'll figure it out by then. So on the 19th, that'll be our next show. And we hope everybody comes back and follows along with us then. If not, don't forget, ptrradio.com tells you how to subscribe to the podcast. so that you never miss an episode. So, really, there's nothing else going on. We're just kind of hanging out, doing what we do, and we hope that you enjoy it and that you tell all your friends, because that's the only way that this show really grows, is that you tell somebody else, who then tells somebody else, and it's kind of like a good version of COVID that way, right? You tell everybody, they tell everybody, and that way. So we want you to spread the word about the show. Don't spread COVID. Just spread word about the show. Spreading COVID's bad. Spreading the word about the show is very good. So do that. With that convoluted message, we want everybody to make sure that you stay safe. Keep all your fingers and toes as you work through the rest of your fireworks. And please keep it calm and sane for all the animals and service members that are in your neighborhood. Don't be a jackass. All right? With that said, I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I am Mike the Ape Man.
Stick a fork in us, folks. We are done. Later.